Hello, everyone. It's me, Lancer737. We're doing a live stream. I haven't done this before. Well, I've attempted this before during Christmas, and I got struck down. But anyway, we got a lot of important things to go through. First, I would like to wish one of my members happy birthday. They are having their birthday today. Their icon is Princess Twilight. I don't remember what their name is, and I'm very sorry for that, but their birthday is today. Also, would like to congratulate Midnight Luna. They're the first person out of all my followers to tell me that they have completed the current going campaign. Congratulations to you. That's awesome. Oh, I have a cat in here. He is excited. He's talking to me. I'm going to let him out now. Here you go, Felix. His name is Felix the cat. Here you go. He'll probably scream that the door is closed and want back into the room, but hey, that is just how it is. Hello, everyone. I have a viewer. Hey, how's it going? My friend code is also in the top left hand corner, so do not forget to add me in the game if you haven't already. And in the chat, if you want people to add you in the game, don't be shy. Put your friend code in the chat and let everyone add you in the game. So, I had a request. They want. It's almost been a year since I did my last update on what my roster is, and so, but you know what? I better update that just in case something bad happens in the game. But also, it'd be fun to live stream the game. I haven't actually live streamed this game on this channel ever, 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 ever. But my time is limited. My time is limited because I'm running purely on battery power. And I'm also sorry that this stream is later than I would like. It is late because I haven't streamed with this app in such a long time. The Twitch app is much friendlier to use. I haven't done this in such a long time that I had to go through all this different rigmarole and stuff to get it to work. And it's overcomplicated to stream on the YouTube app. Let's see if anyone is talking. Got 3 people. Hello, everyone. And okay, so first, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go over all the characters I have in every single territory. I'm gonna start with Luna because it'll be easier to keep track that way of who I got. Actually, I better collect stuff because I might, lose my concentration on who I have seen. But for sure, if I start with Luna, and every single place that I'm looking through my inventory of characters I have, I should definitely be able to recognize I've finished all the characters I've gone through if I end back up with Luna. So we're gonna do that, but we're also gonna talk about some Marvel characters, and we're gonna talk about some not Marvel characters. We're gonna talk about the Marvel and Star Wars games because someone actually asked me, would I like if Disney bought My Little Pony? I actually wouldn't. I don't think My Little Pony is doing that great. It doesn't look like it's doing bad. It's just not doing that amazing. Okay, obviously here's Princess Luna. Okay, so here we go. It's not doing that great. I mean, like when you look at G5, it doesn't seem like it's that great. The animation's not bad. The art style for dragons, I'm not that big of a fan of. So I kind of don't like that. But
time to explore.
it feels like they don't take villains very seriously in G5, and I'm not a big fan of that. They the thing about My Little Pony G4 is the villains are extremely well crafted. You have many different villains. You have some extremely dangerous, serious villains. You have some joke villains. You have some mid-tier villains, but they treat their villains very, very well. They do an amazing job with these characters, and the most serious ones need to be treated that way because you don't want your villains to be all joke villains that can be easily defeated. That is a problem with G5. Um, Man, I forgot her name already. I made a video about her versus Daybreaker, but like from my understanding, even with the power she has, they do too many jokish things with her. The heroes point out that she's sniffing dragon farts. That's not well. I think actually she does, but it's not because she likes the smell or anything. She's looking specifically for dragon fire. She wants to incorporate that into her magical abilities. Let's see if anyone's talking. We got 2 viewers. Hello, everybody. So, on Lucky Clover right now. He's on a quest. So is Fleetfoot. But like, Opal. It's Opal. Opaline. But she's not that serious as a villain, but she's meant to be our most serious villain, and that is a serious problem. That would be like getting rid of all of our villains in My Little Pony and having Trixie be the main villain, not reformed. And we have them going up against her with their most powerful abilities is just it's strange. And another thing that's not going for G5 is that they orchestrated it or constructed they idealized how they wanted their characters to interact with other characters in the series when it comes to magical combat. It feels like they don't want any of the heroes to use any offensive spells, only defensive spells. That's a weird take. If only one character was doing that, it would be a little bit more of an interesting take as opposed to everyone that's good doing that. I don't know. I would need a better explanation for why it is that they're doing that. But that's just how it is. So anyway, this gets back into the question: would I have liked if Disney just bought Hasbro or just My Little Pony and continued on? Before I even get into the things I like and dislike about Disney era Star Wars or Marvel, I think they're too busy. I mean, I think they have way too many properties. That's like the main a big reason right there. Can't say main, but pretty close to it. It's very close to it. They have way too many properties. I think they have a management and writing problem already with all the things that they have. I would not force them or encourage them to take on even more because in a sense I feel like the writers need to focus more on all the stuff that they're doing now, and they're not quite doing that. Now, long story short, I feel like they've become too ideological. I can't even talk. Darn it! They've become too ideological. They're using ideologies that are harmful, or they have an agenda that they're putting into their stuff that ruins some stories for Marvel and some stories for Star Wars or just Disney itself. And they also have a quality problem. So even if they're not doing that with their stuff, the quality is not that great sometimes for their things. So that's part of the long story short. I feel like they're putting ideology over quality for their stories for some. That's the unique thing about it. They have so many different writers that you can have. Like I think they're on the fourth phase. I think they're going to the fifth phase for Marvel. So there's multiple different writers for different characters and different stories. Some of them will do an amazing job, and then some of them it's like, ugh. It's terrible. It's Queen Opaline taking form and plot. So anyway, let's think about doing a tier list, not physically, because right now I am showing you my collection. Let's see if anyone's talking. Got 3 people again. Hey, hello everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, also I have monetized. I should have said that immediately. I have monetized everyone. Things are getting interesting in a way. I need some. I want to do some more stuff, but I need to monetize and make a little bit more while doing that. I'm gonna work on memberships and subscription stuff. I want to make some really, really cool stuff, but I need some more resources to be able to do that. I'm in a really weird position in things. I just need to do it that way. And that's also another reason why I was wanting you to take the questionnaire that I made in the post to see what kind of ads you like more. Ads that start at the beginning of videos, ads that start at the end of videos or in the middle of video. Like if this was uploaded as a normal video, I think it should be in the middle because it's just me talking. But like if it was gameplay, well, it's up to you. Would you rather it be at the beginning of the video or the end of the video? To be honest with you, if I had more control over ads, I'd want it to just be pop ups as opposed to something that interrupts the video, but I have no control over that. And I want to do some more subscription stuff too. Work on stories and artwork and stuff just for you guys because you all are my Lunanauts. That is the fandom for my channel. I'm calling you the Lunanauts. I'm a huge Luna fan, but I'm not just a Luna fan. I love all things nighttime themed. That's why also in Warhammer 40k, I love the Night Lords. In Star Wars, there isn't too many, night themed things in it, but if there were, I kind of gravitate towards it. Or things that are purple, which again goes back to Princess Luna or Night Lords or other things of that sort. They have the coolest color palettes. They are awesome. I love the characters themselves. Well, I can't say I love the characters themselves in Night Lords. I just like their style. And if you're not familiar with Warhammer 40k, everything I'm saying is just whoosh. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, let me know where you like the ads. I want to make it accommodating to everyone. So, getting into it, I wanted to make a tier list of Marvel and Star Wars stuff I like, and maybe explain a little bit why I did it that way. But unfortunately, I don't have a tier list visually, but I can still talk about it. So let's go over Marvel. You might be shocked to hear this, but I actually dislike most of Phase 1. Most people want to destroy me for saying that. I didn't care too much for the first Hulk, well, first and only Hulk movie in the official MCU primary continuity. Didn't care too much for Iron Man, and again, people are like, "What? You how?" It's like, well, I'll tell you how. Unfortunately, the first Iron Man movie does suffer from some of the problems that a lot of the 1990s, not all, but a lot of the 1990s and late 80s superhero films had. And that was like overly corny in some ways, or they would try to be realistic in an unrealistic setting. Well, that part's debatable, but they would have the trying to be realistic in a fictional setting sort of issue. I think that greatly hampered it. Didn't like it very much. Like for instance, this was as cheesy as all heck. There isn't any villains except for in these kind of films where you'd see something like Iron Man has just disabled the targeting system for the main villain in the first Iron Man movie, the Ironmonger. He's like, "You've damaged my suit. I've lost my targeting capabilities. But don't worry, stand still. I will get you." It's like, why would you even say anything like that? That is so ridiculously cheesy. No. Don't tell your enemy that you can't target them and the stand still. Are you an idiot? How are you the vice president of a multi-billion-dollar industry where you have to be cutthroat to take over or defeat other industries and businesses? But here you're like, "I'm gonna announce everything I'm doing. Nothing can go wrong. It's not like I lost my helmet and I lost my targeting capabilities, and my opponent has power armor too. It can easily take my head off." It's insane. It is. I love the characters themselves. I appreciate the character development. It's like in G4 My Little Pony. My favorite episodes are the high fantasy ones, especially with Princess Luna and Princess Celestia. High fantasy action mystery. And to be honest with you, because like the how we were kind of like a family with the writers and the authors for the novels and stuff. I kind of feel like our fan fiction kind of. Oh, there's Spiky talking.
Yep.
We kind of our stuff kind of is canon to the series, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we made that is superior to the official stuff, but at the same time, it wouldn't exist without that official stuff. So that official stuff is still very much important. But I absolutely love our fandom's fan made stuff. It's just fantastic stuff. And then like they had this mystery series that kind of had a Goosebumps vibe to it. It had a horror element to it. I couldn't believe how much that horror element. It made me notice there was stuff missing in the stories to make it even more interesting. And that subconsciously, that might have been why I kind of liked Nightmare Moon more than I realized in Daybreaker, because having a horror element to the My Little Pony G4 series, it added a whole new dynamic that was really, really cool, really
Yeah.
amazing. I loved it. Um, darn, I don't have any of those books right by me. I have a bunch of Punisher and Star Wars books by me. That's not going to help me. Yeah, you know what? I'll look it up. I'll just write it in the comments. I'll pin it. And I'll be like, "This is the name of the series I was talking about. It has a horror element. It was really good." But anyway, getting back to Marvel, Thor was not okay. I mean, sorry. Getting back to my point I was talking about, I appreciate stories with Rarity. I appreciate stories with Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy, but now that I know who they are and seeing their individual stories in the TV series, it's not something I feel like I want to go back and see. Unless it's like a really good one. Like Pinkie Pie did have some really good off the wall ones, but at the same time, some of her episodes, they were very, what's the word I'm looking for? A throwback to G2 and G3, which makes me want to die. Sarcastically, I'm not being serious. I don't want to die, but you get the idea. Um, Anyway, that's just that all the different characters in G4 have a different style story, and that's also like I said, I appreciate knowing who those characters are. I don't want to go back to it. That's how I feel about some of the characters for Marvel. If I'm having a marathon, then yeah, I'm gonna you're obligated. You have to, if you're having a true
Sure you saw this
marathon
coming.
saga watching a Marvel or Star Wars, you can't skip anything. Even if it's the Star Wars Holiday Special, you're going to watch it because it is what you have to do. But I just thought it was interesting, to see who they are. But I don't want to go back to some of them if I don't have to, especially if it's like I'm only watching individual stuff. So Thor is kind of in that boat. It had some funny. I think it's a little bit going too far to have him being able to be easily tasered, and that's a running joke in all his films. He's tasered over and over again and over again, and it makes me just a little bit annoyed. I mean, having lightning people being tasered, it's like usually they're immune to their own elemental weapons, or not just immune, they get more power from it. Not they get taken. I didn't know that Thor is Metal Man from Mega Man 2, where his own weapon can destroy him in one or two hits. But whatever, that's just how it is. Um, anyway, Thor 1 wasn't bad. I kind of like the Frost Giants though. I like frozen things. Let it go, let it go. You want to build a snowman with a giant ice, giant ice giant monster creature. Um, Loki, of course. The end. Okay, there are some good parts to it though. Like, but the film as a whole, and it's not bad. I think when in Phase One, the first movie that is good is Iron Man 2. Again, people are like, "Wow, how dare you? It's the first movie." No, too bad. Iron Man 2 is my first favorite Phase 1 Marvel film. That one was done very well. They did at one point still suffer a little bit from the issues that superhero films did in late 80s, early 90s. Like if you remember, they're fighting Whiplash. He has a full suit of power armor. Him and War Machine are about to get killed. They purposely combined both the repulsor beams together to cause a gigantic concussive force that's going to knock him out. And it's conjoining right in front of his face. One, he should have noticed. It should have been clear that this thing of energy that's accumulating in front of his face is going to knock him out. And they're open too. They're openly talking about doing it, and it's like, why? Why are you not doing anything? Don't sit there. Are you insane? That's my only problem. The rest of the film is fantastic. Oh, and Easter egg, it's a retcon, by the way. Remember the little boy that is dressed like Iron Man? He sees one of the hammer drones land in front of him. He puts his hand out, and the hammer drone goes to target him and destroy him. But Iron Man saves him at the last second. They retcon that little boy that was doing that to be Peter Parker. So that's kind of cool. So that's my first Phase One Marvel film I like. The Marvel and Disney did a fine job with that one. And then I'm sort of not doing this continuity order. I think Iron Man 2 actually is supposed to become not become, it came out before Thor continuity. So my second favorite Phase 1 film actually was Captain America. My only complaint that you can make with Captain America is I feel like he should have got more films in World War One. Sorry, World War Two. Should have had more films in World War Two. But you know what? It's better than what we got conceptualized, because conceptualized they were actually my throat. Sorry about that. Hold on a second. I still have allergies. I'm sorry about that. So, Captain America. Disney slash the people that were making the Marvel films, they actually thought about, instead of having him being frozen after or during World War II, they were just going to have him be made during current times, and he was going to be an Iraqi war veteran. And it's like, realistically, that war did not. There's no way a super soldier would be needed for that war, or the Afghan war either. Hello, everyone. Please don't forget to hit the like button while I'm doing this. Okay, so I just thought that was weird, and I'm glad they went back to the roots and made it so that he was in World War II and got frozen just like in the original war. Thought his story part was riveting. Loved the action in it. I don't think there was really anything cheesy that bothered me. And you know, the just that little thing in Iron Man 2 was it, and then I think the bad cheesiness went away. So Iron Man, Captain America, yeah, that was also a good one. But I cannot neglect to say the best one for Phase One. Obviously, the first Avengers film, that was a fantastic film. We had not seen a crossover film like that before. The Avengers films themselves, like the Avengers, not like, in the Avengers universe you have an Avengers film. I mean, like the Avengers film, 1 through 4. Those are very special event films, and overall, they're the most fantastic superhero films I've ever seen. There's very few that can surpass them. Even counting films that are non superhero films, it's going to be hard to beat an Avengers film. So now that we're talking about that, they did a fantastic job with them crossing over, talking to each other, interacting with each other. About the only thing that I can complain about is the trope where heroes have to fight other heroes. I don't think you necessarily need to do that. I mean, they did say though at one point that they a bunch of them are narcissists. So at least there is an element there that would explain why the heroes are just as easily wanting to fight each other as opposed to just villains. That's just how it is, though. I want to say hi to my viewers. I hope you're having fun. I'm going through my list of characters here, just in case something bad happens. And I recommend you do it too. Just in case something bad happens, I recommend that you write down your friend code, your your friend code, and your actual ID code, which you will find in your my about me section. Write it down somewhere. Don't let anyone see it. And also record, like what I'm doing. Record your actual library so that Gameloft cannot do anything to you and act like there's nothing for you to recover, or that you didn't actually work on anything. You don't want to give them any room at all to be like, well, you only had a couple characters, so here's a couple like 900 rubies or something like that. No, you'd be like, this is my friend code, this is my ID code, this is a video recording of all the characters I have, and I better get them all back. There's been a couple times where I've had to do that, and it does, I hardly lose my progress anymore, and if I do, I don't really have too many problems getting it back. Now, going back to Marvel, the Avengers film is virtually perfect. I think just any film, it doesn't have to be a superhero film, it's going to have a hard time beating an Avengers film. But it did because in phase two, I am going to skip around a little bit because I don't remember exactly which ones were from phase two. I think Guardians of the Galaxy might be one of the the first one of the absolute most greatest Disney slash Marvel films ever. You don't even have to count it as a superhero film because they're technically not superheroes. It could have just easily have been a group of rogues from Star Wars. Like this could have been Rogue One, except for they accidentally end up in the Marvel universe because that's how far removed they are from being superheroes. The first Guardians of the Galaxy is so crazy and good and out of left field that it is one of the most fantastic films I have ever watched, especially for a comic book film. And that's saying something because if I count films that are superhero films that are in I mean, let's face it, because of the multiverse stuff now, every Marvel film, even the crappy ones that only went straight to video in like the 80s and 70s, they're all canon to the multiverse now. So I guess I can conclude it. My guilty pleasure and my favorites are the Thomas Jane Punisher films and the game that's linked to it. I love Wesley Snipes' Blade and the series connected to it. Believe it or not, it had a live action TV series that counts as canon moving on. Then it had an anime that counts as canon, all that moving on. And so Ghost Rider, too. The characters themselves make it so to me those stories are still my absolute most favorite comic book hero films. But if we take out the characters and just go over the scenarios that they go through or the things that happen and stuff like that, I have to give it to Guardians of the Galaxy. So my favorites, they're in the top first place for a different reason than Guardians of the Galaxy. That was a fantastic film. I think in phase two they also had the third Iron Man movie. That is also another one that a lot of people hate, and I actually ended up liking that one a lot. It did feel awkward that that guy in it was not the real Mandarin, but that's just how it is. They have side videos too. Don't forget that they have side videos that you only can see in the special features, and they flat out show in the side video that comes with the Iron Man 3 Blu-ray that the real Mandarins people abduct that guy that was pretending to be him. But other than that, it was and then they have the Iron Patriot in it. And if you're not familiar with the comics, it felt very awkward because the Iron Patriot is Green Goblin's power armor, and you're like, what? Green Goblin? Yeah. There's a scroll invasion in the comics. I do not know if it's going to reflect stuff in TV shows and Marvel MCU stuff going forward. But there was a scroll invasion. Both the heroes and villains got involved because it was that serious a situation, and Green Goblin's the one that saved the Earth. As a form of mockery, he like legally possessed one of Iron Man's suits, recolored it with the American colors, and called it Iron Patriot. So it's weird having someone that is essentially Green Lantern, one of Green Lantern's, sorry, not Green Lantern, Green Goblin's alter egos as a hero in Iron Man 3. Don't know what they're going to do with that moving forward, but we will see. But other than that, Iron Man 3, I thought was a fantastic film. It addressed things that happened to Iron Man immediately after Avengers because the stuff he went through would be traumatizing. He did die. He did do something he knew would kill him to save the Earth, and he did save it. I guess the only thing the other thing I could complain about, and it's only a minor thing, Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as Iron Man and pretending that he's having panic attacks. How he portrays panic attacks is not correct, but it's like it doesn't bother me that much. I unfortunately do have them, and they can be debilitating. You have to have lots of mental discipline to try to fight it. But panic attacks can ruin a lot of things. Like there's been times where it makes me feel like I can't swallow at all. Like if I'm drinking something, all of a sudden I feel like I can't swallow, and then it makes me feel like I'm going to choke on my tongue, and it's a terrifying experience. It's just the way he did it. He just starts breathing hard and then acts dizzy, which the dizziness can happen, but it's like then he recovers. It doesn't work that way. At least usually it doesn't. But like I'm not gonna be mad at him for it. It's just what it is. But I do give it a little, just a little knock against the Marvel films. So that being said, I again big fan of Iron Man 3. Phase 2. What was in Phase 2? I think Thor: The Dark World was in it, and again, people didn't like it. I love Thor: The Dark World. I like the Dark Elves as villains. I'm more familiar with them through Marvel Ultimate Alliance, so I don't know how they should be if you're basing it off comics. And I loved how they looked
Will you
in
accept my friendship?
she sounds like Twilight. I mean, well, she is Twilight. She sounds like Celestia, is what I meant. Um, I love the look of the Dark Elves because they're infantry. They look like what Dark Elves would look like if they joined the Galactic Empire, and I thought that was a really cool look. I love the demeanor and the motives for the main Dark Elves villains. Same for Ronan in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I love how the villains were portrayed. They were really awesome, very unique. They just messed up the Asgardians really good. It was crazy. Saying hi to everyone. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're enjoying this. Don't forget to chat and everything. Don't forget to hit the like button. But yeah, I thought they did a good job with that one. Again, I'm trying to think. I think they threw in Avengers 2 in Phase 2. Oh, no, I'll say this. I'm probably not going to be able to go by phases anymore because it kind of blurs. I know it went into Phase 4. I remember a little bit what went into Phase 3, but what went into Phase 2, I can't remember them all. So I'm just gonna drop the phases and just talk about the movies that come to my mind. All the Captain America films, those were mind-blowingly fantastic. They also showed that you can have the films be dark. You know, like The Punisher is pretty dark. They showed that you could have the stories be dark in a Disney Marvel film, and it was still a fantastic film. Most of the others weren't. I Even with the stuff going on with Iron Man, because of the style of it for Iron Man, it wasn't that dark. It had a dark element to it, but it wasn't that dark. But then you get a little bit of Thor: Dark World that's a little bit dark, and then you get into Captain America 2, and that was really really dark. Civil War. Where's that? The third one. Darn, my brain feels broken. Um, well, I'll just say it again. I thought they did a fantastic job making those the more serious ones. Um, Hulk didn't really get any more stuff except for when the Avengers would cross over, or whenever he could cross over with Thor. Um, I think my least liked Avengers film was the second Avengers film. I felt like that one did have a little bit of problems to it. Um, I think they kind of retconned it and made it look like some of Ultron's were able to escape. They just they're laying low. Where I'm going by stuff that you see in Spider-Man films. it was good, just not that amazing. The way they have the Ultrons fighting in it, I thought was kind of strange. Um, I'm used to Ultron being a more, how do I describe it? He's not as chaotic as he was in the live action film. Also, thought their choice of voice actor for him was kind of strange. It was until they explained why it had to be that way. But until then, it's like, why would they make him sound that way? I always pictured him being like the Marvel version of IG-88 because their motives and tactics are very similar. But IG-88A, to be specific. Um, but yeah, I kind of thought that one was a little bit of disappointment. Oh, the Hulk Buster though, that was an awesome scene. Oh, and also having heroes fighting heroes again. I understand why they did it in the second one, but also I don't think that's something that needs to be dwelled upon and have happen over and over again. So, with that regard, the quality started to go down a little bit in that one. So then we start getting TV series, I believe. And well, before I continue, let's talk about those. I felt like some of the direction they went with those was, well, less than stellar. Loki, his is all about the multiverse, which is pretty cool actually. It's weird he wants to date himself. That's I guess that's playing into him, you showing how egotistical he is, but it's still kind of weird. Also, kind of scary. The place he's in, none of the Infinity Stones work, and they have giant collections of multiple universes versions of Infinity Stones. Um, it was decent. I like I said, it's not mind blowing though. And then like WandaVision, that's the first one that made me angry. It made me really angry because they brought back the actual actor from the X-Men Marvel films, the Fox Marvel films, to play as the Flash. No, Quicksilver. Sorry, not the Flash. Quicksilver. And they tease you that it's he's taking over for the role, and it's like, no, not really. It's a completely different guy. It just happens to be Quicksilver here. It's like, you you evil people, how can you do this? How? He might still come back because further on down the road they do have more of the people from Fox Marvel reprising the roles, so that's good, you know. But yeah, and I liked how every single episode the intro would be a shout out to a series of the time of like Vic Van Dyke and stuff like that. That was okay, but they had an intro that was based off Malcolm in the Middle, and that was freaking awesome. I don't care what you say when it comes to comedies and TV shows. Malcolm in the Middle is the best one. Heard it's coming back, which is going to be pretty awesome. I cannot wait for that if that's true. But WandaVision was also kind of a hit and miss to me. The Marvel TV series that I thought did fantastic, and they confirmed they're still canon, was the Daredevil Netflix series, the Defender Netflix series, and all the other characters linked to them, including the Punisher. That was, a fan. Those series were aces in the hole. They were fantastic. No agendas forced into them. Great writing, great mystery. It was great seeing the Punisher with Daredevil. Again, um, you kind of got the idea of who my favorite characters are. Hi, everyone that's watching. Um, don't forget to hit that like button. Um, everyone that is no, I'm jumbled up. All the characters I mentioned, all the movies I mentioned are my top favorite. Those characters by default are my favorite characters. So the Punisher, Ghost Rider, um, Blade. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting someone? Punisher, Ghost Rider, Blade. Oh, Venom. Yeah, Venom's one of my favorites. Depending on how he's portrayed. In the Sam Raimi universe, he got shafted really good, and so he's more evil than anti-hero, and so he does some horrible things I don't like. I still like him as a villain in Sam Raimi's movies, but he's that's not how Venom should be. So anyway, so you get the gist of it. And then Carol Danvers, aka Miss Marvel, aka Captain Marvel. When it comes to actual superheroes, because those four guys I mentioned, they're not actually superheroes. One is a hero slash anti-hero. Ghost Rider, he's beyond that kind of thing. People can call him a superhero, but he is kind of beyond that concept. Blade is also kind of like an anti-hero. He's specifically there for getting vampires. And then Venom, he is an anti-hero that actually wants to be a hero. Especially if you go by live action stuff. He wants to be the ultimate superhero while snacking on some chocolate covered brains. Um, Kind of funny stuff. But yeah, Carol Danvers is my actual absolute favorite legit superhero.
Oh
Un-
my.
and I'll
I
get
do love
into
a good
her movie
accessory.
later and
I suppose
her
that's
performance,
rarities in clothing.
unfortunately. Um, Excuse me. Allergies again. Sorry about that. Man, I have so many characters here. I'm surprised I'm not done with Ponyville yet. So, that being said, trying to think back. Oh, we were talking about TV series. Seeing them back in the Netflix part of the Marvel MCU series was, mind blowing how well they did with them. I like the Purple Man as a villain. It's kind of a shame he's dead, but the concept of him was really good. But in contrast, it's like a lot of the direct to Disney Plus Marvel TV series versus the net. I have a speech impediment now. Sorry about that. Versus the Netflix ones, you can see where the quality went because most of them, or at least half of them, or I don't know. I need to go through them over again. I feel like a lot of the Disney ones they focus too much on ideology and a message versus focusing on a story that's also canon. And that's why the Netflix ones I think are superior. Um, I did not like She-Hulk at all. It's weird having more than one third wall breaking character, and she's one of them. Loki's supposed to be one too, but I don't recall Loki in the comics. He does it, but I don't recall him doing it in the live action TV series or in the movies. But yeah, as something to mess up a character in the comics, Loki let one of the heroes know that they were comic book characters. I mean, they're sentient technically, but not only are they comic book characters, but they're being read right now by little children, and so no matter what he does is pointless, and it kind of blew that person's mind. But She-Hulk, that one had too much political stuff in it. I didn't want to see, and like I feel like they cheapened some of the villains, like Abomination. I thought he was dead or something. And it was cool to see him back more to his normal self, but it was weird that he's part of a commune, and that's weird. And like the villain is essentially people that are critics of the series. That was just the series was just it was too weird. I'm trying to think. I did not get to see what was it, Scroll Invasion. I want to see it just to see it, but like I've heard some bad things about it, and it's probably true. But I'm not gonna 100% just be like, well, I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna believe everything that was said to me about it. Hey everyone, don't forget to like the video. Um, but yeah, the TV series, I think they've been mostly disappointing. There is some good, decent stuff in it if you include them all. Individually, there's some that are fantastic and some are not. And then now going back to the movies, movies. Wasn't there a third Thor? Oh yeah, there is. I absolutely dislike that one. That one, the humor in the third Thor just was terrible. I didn't think it fit well at all. Didn't really care for it. So that's another one that I felt was really disappointing. I liked Ant-Man. I feel like he's a little bit horn-shoed into the series because he's being set up to be a very critically important character, especially in the second film. I feel like the second film and everything that happened in it was essentially one giant MacGuffin. But I don't dislike the film enough to be like, well, it's just a MacGuffin, so it's a flat out fail. There is some great stuff in it that I thought was entertaining. But they having the comedic parts of the bongo though that might be overdoing it. But overall, I do like him. If we go by coolness, the look of the character itself, I think actually Ant Man is the coolest looking one because of the helmet. I love like fully enclosed helmets and stuff like that. Man, I have lots of characters, don't I?
Wait a minute, where's my throne?
Nightmare,
I am the great and powerful Trixie.
the Nightmare characters are just fantastic. I love that Princess Luna made Nightmare versions that are 100% exactly like the originals, except for in appearance, of course. But going back to Marvel, I loved Ant Man's films. I wouldn't rate them as the greatest, but I did like them. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was entertaining. It was sad that Yondu died in it. I hated that Yondu had to die. But I did like the film. It had some problems. I did not think it surpassed the first one. I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for it to ever beat the first one. Um, I think some of the things that Rocket did were annoying. Purposely getting his team into trouble when they didn't need to. And I didn't think it needed to happen in the film either, but that's just how it is. I think I've included all of Phase 3 and little bits of Phase 4 because I talked about all the TV series basically. Now, when you get into Phase, I think all the Avengers, the 3 and 4 are part of Phase 4, and you're going to see stuff that is just, it was incredible, those Avengers films. They actually surpassed the first Avengers film. Having focusing on Thanos as the main character so you can learn more about his motives was key to it. Again, making a fantastic villain. That's why My Little Pony G4 is fantastic. When a villain needs to be powerful and dangerous, they are powerful and dangerous, and they are a serious villain. They did the same thing with Thanos. The only thing I can complain about Thanos is like, oh, because of too overpopulation, um, we got to make it so a bunch of them disappear, and then they'll have food to eat. Well, it's like, well, that problem then is going to happen eventually, and you just destroyed all the Infinity Stones. So now you made it so that problem is going to be much more difficult to fix. He has the Infinity Stones. Why didn't he just make things are manually infinite resource? When I say manual, I mean like if you know someone requests something, the thing they need just materializes. You literally can just about do anything with the Infinity Stones. People do debate me on it and try to claim that the comic book versions and video game versions are more powerful. But these are the first Infinity Stones that have ever been in fiction that I'm aware of. I know definitely not the originals in the comics that could actually destroy themselves. They're not powerful enough to do that in the comics. They just flash or something and then nothing happens. But they're powerful enough here that you can make them destroy themselves. And I just have no doubt he could, that he couldn't do that. He could have made it so that it is manually unlimited supplies. It instantly and throughout all infinity, the powers he can use with the stones he can program it so that this essence can make it so everything gets what it needs supply wise and food wise instantly, so no one has to disappear to make room for other people. But he didn't do that. But I mean, that's my only complaint. Other than that, he was awesome. The fights were awesome. It was the most personal and well done stuff I had seen. Um, I I thought making Thor overweight was doing overdoing it, but it made sense because he felt like he had just lost everyone and it was all his fault. So yeah, that part kind of makes sense. Um, we're the only thing that could possibly top all of that. The only thing was the third Spider-Man movie. I realize now I kind of forgot talking about them, but there is a crux with the Spider-Man films. They are really good films, but you're never ever going to be able to beat the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. And no offense to Andrew Garfield, his films were not that great. He was an awesome Spider-Man. Gwen
I,
Stacy in that was an
finish,
awesome Gwen
have
Stacy.
arrived.
The villains he fought were stupid as all heck. They were, I mean, they even bring it up as a joke in the third Spider-Man movie. So all that being said, like, I like the stuff that the MCU version of Spider-Man goes through, but it's just not Tobey Maguire, and it's most of them are not the villains I care about. So for me, that's kind of a knock towards it. But the third one, that was incredible. It felt like it was in the same league as the first Guardians of the Galaxy and the third and fourth Avengers film. It was that big. Seeing all the classic best villains come back for this crossover. Um, Even the actors were terrified of the guy that plays this Green Goblin. They weren't expecting the original Green Goblin to come back, and even in interviews, the people like the guy that plays as Spider-Man currently, he got shivers and was a little terrified when they heard him laughing. That film, those films, the third Spider-Man film is just incredibly awesome. I got blown away with a lot of stuff. My only complaint with the third Spider-Man was I feel like they resolved stuff too quickly with some villains. I don't think he should have been able to convert some villains or fix them so quickly, but it's only a minor complaint. The what the character goes through Spider-Man was stuff I never expected to see. I never spoiler alerts. Never expected to see Green Goblin kill not Gwen Stacy, kill Aunt May, and I thought he killed the now I forgot his name. I mentioned his name. The the Sam Raimi Spider Man. I had just mentioned his name before, and now for some reason I can't remember his name. I've had too many head injuries. I'm sorry, guys. But Tobey Maguire, yeah. I thought he killed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man too. Not only that, he actually quick drawed Doctor Strange and nearly caused their entire universe to completely dissolve and be completely consumed by multiple multiverses. He is ridiculously dangerous, but it's not that he was just dangerous. There's a lot of character to him, and they did an amazing job. And I love that they made Doctor Octopus nearly a good. Well, he is a good guy through most of the film. That was a great twist. Um, I just feel like Sandman was a little bit stupid because he knows Spider-Man isn't going to kill him, but like he listens to one of the villains say, "Oh yeah, he's just going to kill us all." It's like, why would you even fall for that? But besides that, that was a fantastic film. Now, unfortunately, I can't say the same for a bunch of the other ones. I now realize I forgot to mention Doctor Strange. It did its job well to introduce Doctor Strange. It was very similar to the animated Lionsgate Doctor Strange film. Hey, everyone, and thanks for the like. I hope you're enjoying this. Um, it was very similar to that one. It was superior. About the only thing I can complain about the first Doctor
I
Strange
hate
is
movies.
they were kind of following a similar formula that most intro videos for first video for a hero would follow. I feel like they follow too much of a similar pattern, and I think they need to break away from that. Just
May
because
not do
something
well.
worked for one thing does not mean you should do it over and over and over and over and over again. But that's just how it is. I did enjoy it. I actually, since we're technically in the phase 4 now, I will say this: they had too many videos that are not TV shows come out on Disney Plus. I absolutely loved Werewolf by Night. I think that's what it was called, and I loved the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Fantastic. In fact, I have a hard time picking between those two. Doctor Strange 2 got a lot of hate, but I absolutely love that movie. It's way superior to the first Doctor Strange movie. People think that Scarlet Witch got too much showtime in Doctor
Will
Strange
you
2,
accept my friendship?
and it essentially was really a Scarlet Witch movie. But I think that's important because she technically is the villain through most of the film. And you do need to have screen time with your villain so that you can see them adapt to the hero as well. So for me, it did not bother me. In fact, the only thing that bothered me was two things. One, Bruce Campbell was in that film. Oh, and by the way, second Doctor Strange film. The second Doctor Strange film is a Sam Raimi film, and Sam Raimi made all the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. We didn't get Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in this. I could have swore we saw him in the trailer though, but we didn't. But other than that, we Bruce Campbell was in this film, and they could have had him as Ash in it, and they didn't. See, Ash, they had a crossover comic book series. If you're familiar with Marvel Zombies, they had Marvel Zombies crossover with the Evil Dead, and they made it official. It wasn't just a crossover, and you can forget about it. Evil Dead crossing over with Marvel Zombies was a canon event. So you can legitimately have Ash from Evil Dead be in a Marvel's film, and they didn't do that. They made him pop a pizza. That part was still funny, but he still should have been Ash. Now the second thing that, and these are minor nitpicks. See, I think Doctor Strange 2 was fantastic. That's my kind of film. The other nitpick was it looked like they did intend on Tom Cruise being superior Iron Man. That's a specific multiverse version of Iron Man. He had been in talks to play as him. You could have a completely different character dynamic with an alternate universe version of Iron Man. Even though he may look or act in a lot of ways like the original, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, he would still be a different person. And so like these characters would have an attachment to Iron Man and he would have no attachment to them. And there's so many different dynamics and ways you can play off that story. He might actually even have disdain for Spider-Man. Spider-Man could be like, it's Iron Man, and he could be sad, happy to see him, and he's like, just get away from me. Who are you? I don't care about you. You're not from my universe. I want nothing to do with you. And if you touch me again, I'll get you with a repulsor beam. Doesn't have to be that
It's Wally.
aggressive, but you know what I'm getting at. It's a different universe. Iron Man, he's still spiritually and coordinates wise a different person completely. But it looks like he was cut out, and they even have a seat there where he should have sat. But it was fantastic to see Patrick Stewart as Xavier again. But he's not just Xavier; he's also a shout out to the Uncanny X Men animated series Xavier, which is kind of cool. I mean, I would prefer if it would just been straightforward Fox X Men shout out as opposed to Uncanny X Men, but
I am the great and
I'll take it.
powerful
Oh,
Trixie.
just so you know, Xavier's been killed by superpowered redheaded women multiple times now. His weakness, obviously, is redheaded women. So in X-Men 3, he's killed by Jean Grey, super powerful mutant, has long red hair, completely disintegrates his body. In this movie, Scarlet Witch, which she's Magneto's daughter, has a mutant ability that grants her access without having to learn how to do it. Unlimited access to chaos magic. She gets into his head and kills him. He should stay away from redheaded women. It Just stay away from them. I don't care if he needs directions. Ask someone else. Stay away from redheaded women. But Doctor Strange 2, I liked it. Now, since we are in the phase 4, I have to say this now. I think in phase 4 we got the most disappointing Marvel film.
Welcome.
It's one of the most disappointing films, period, Marvel or not. And that would have to be the Celestials. I think it was called the Marvel Celestials, wasn't it? I can't even remember the name of it now, but I mean, you might know what I'm talking about because I'm bringing up the Celestials or the Eternals. No, sorry, the Marvel Eternals. That was a terrible film. I also didn't know that they were kind of following the comic book canon with that one, but I hated that film. That film was so boring. I could not believe how boring it was. Like there's a few characters I liked in it, but I just most of it was just so slow and so boring. It was the most boring and dreary film I'd ever seen. It was so boring it got me to a state where I felt like I had just witnessed a jump scare. They had some monsters pop up.
Makes
I
sense.
wasn't expecting it, and then I just whoosh! I jumped out of my chair. But I hated that film. Like essentially everything Iron Man and all the heroes did was for nothing, and the Earth and everything eventually is just going to be consumed anyway by Celestials. And they actually did a good job of making them look eldritch and horrifying without looking monstrous. It's hard to explain. Well, we've gotten to Princess Luna, so let's go to the next place. Um, I'm gonna make sure all my Ruby generators are generating. I don't think he is. Nope, he's talking on the job. He's lazy. Stop it right there. Generate rubies. You've had enough fun. Generate. Okay, well they're generating rubies. Let's see. Who else? Okay, they need to generate some rubies. Here we go. So next we're gonna go to Sweet Apple Acre. You know what? Hold on a second. Let's just go to Clugtown first. It's the furthest one out of the way. Might as well just get that one out of the way. There is no Princess Luna here, so let's go with Spike. Spike the Purple Dragon.
I could eat gems all day.
Tied for first place favorite character. I love purple dragons. Okay, so let's get into this. I thought the Eternals was dreary as all heck. I just did not have fun with it. And it was depressing seeing that like everything everyone did was for nothing. And they made it almost sound like what Thanos did was
Oh,
they
yes.
they might as well have let it happen. It
Hey,
was a
man.
strange film. And the story behind it was that the character the writer for that they were not a skilled writer, but they hired them anyway because of political reasons. And this person decided, without even talking to Disney, that they were going to make this like either the final Marvel film or like a run up to the final Marvel film without telling Marvel or Disney. And that's why it's structured and written and filmed the way it is. It was dumb. It was wow. It's something to behold how terrible that film was. I think that is Marvel's worst thing. Marvel Disney's worst thing. Not gonna lie. Okay, going back, there is a few films I also forgot to mention. I consider, well, Venom at the very least is in the MCU alternate universe. I feel like they did the actor dirty in that one. I like the Sony Marvel version of Venom the best that we've gotten recently. The guy that plays as Venom currently is also the guy that plays as Bane in the Dark Knight series, live action. That's my favorite Venom because Venom is not a villain. He when he came into being, he was incredibly angry. Some really bad things happened to him nonstop. He specifically targeted Spider-Man, so he can come off as a villain. But when Sam Raimi made him, he made him full villain as opposed to, especially with Spider-Man not even existing, he is an anti-hero that wants to be a hero, but he looks too creepy to, for people to be like he is a hero. I thought the Venom films were great. The second Venom film, despite the fact they killed Carnage, which I don't think you should have killed such an important character slash villain like that so fast. I mean, as a hero, yeah, definitely that one. An enemy that's that dangerous, yeah, sure. But like story wise, you don't want to destroy one of your most popular, successful, and most dangerous characters that you can come back for more important stories. Granted, now they've since it's the in the multiverse as opposed to the primary MCU universe.
Must
I
study
guess
harder.
I guess we will
Needs
be
to be
getting
20% cooler.
an
Okay,
MCU
darling.
version of Carnage. Have no idea who plays him.
Okay, it's time to explore.
Well, that's Clugtown. I I didn't like who they chose to play as Carnage. I still sort of didn't in the second movie. He was in the first movie too, but they gave him a giant red afro. And that looked really weird because Cletus Cassidy, who's that's the human part of Carnage, he never had an afro. He almost looks like a redheaded version of Joker if he had no face paint. He doesn't have an afro. It's just pretty weird. Okay, let's not correct. Let's collect some rubies. I am now at 911 rubies. It's pretty good. Hope everyone's enjoying this. Don't forget to do a like and go ahead and talk all you like. This is a live chat. If you're unable to if you're unable to talk, I do not know that. This is the second time I've used this app, and it's not a friendly to use app. But anyway, I thought that movie was fantastic, especially with the dynamics between Venom and Eddie Brock. Really good film. There were some people that cringed over some parts with it. Again, I don't think Carnage should have died, and also him becoming a tornado that just destroys everyone. That did look cheap. I'd never seen Carnage do anything like that. I didn't appreciate it. Wait, you know what? I just realized you know, great. I needed to look at the roster for Sweet Apple Acres. Well, anyway, I guess we're gonna skip that and we'll go back to it in a second. So we're gonna do Canterlot next, starting with Luna. So going back into it, yeah, I greatly enjoyed the Venom one. It's a guilty pleasure. The second one definitely ranked first place. Not gonna lie though, the scenario and stuff that he goes through and the events he goes through, it doesn't compare to things like Avengers 3 and 4, nor Spider Man No Way Home. But the character himself, Venom, the main character, I like him and his dynamics more than a lot of the other heroes in the other films. It's an awkward thing because, like, when you're going through the Avengers films, my most favorite characters, I forgot to mention Hawkeye, which unfortunately doesn't get his own movies. He does have a decent TV series. I don't really have a favorite character. If we're going by just how they're portrayed in movies, I love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. But like if you're going by characters I've always loved before even being portrayed on a movie, none of those characters have been in an Avengers film except for the Punisher. And you might be thinking to yourself, when was he in an Avengers film? Well, long story short, they wanted him in the fourth Avengers film. They couldn't get him in it, so they just have him as a partial cameo, and it's lame. If you remember the part when Hulk finds out that Natasha is dead and he's outside the Avengers compound, he picks up a bench and he throws it like super far into the forest. Well, the writers had it so that the Punisher was actually spying on the Avengers just to see what they were doing. And the Hulk randomly by chance almost hits the Punisher with the park bench. It's like that's so lame.
Yes?
How could that be his only cameo in the Avengers? That
Freaking and fancy.
he's spying on them, doesn't help them, and almost gets hit by the Hulk. That's the only thing I think I can really knock on Avengers 4, having the Punisher in it in that capacity. And it goes back to Eddie Brock as Venom in the MCU multiverse, and the guy that plays as him partially being in No Way Home. They said he was going to be in the MCU, but they kind of lied. Yeah, he was in the MCU for a couple of seconds, couple of minutes, viewer time for a couple of minutes. If we go by in-universe time, then he's there for a whole day. But he doesn't get to interact with any of the MCU characters, none of the Spider-Men. That was disappointing. And he was supposed to be in the MCU, and then he's like, no, not really. We're gonna have a different Venom. Goodbye, goodbye. That part really disappointed me. So excluding that, I think I've mentioned them all. Oh, I forgot to mention Agents of Shield. I think Agents of Shield was lame, especially since they tried to create new heroes in the first couple seasons. When you get to season 4, though, it suddenly changes its quality, and I really enjoyed it at that point because they brought back the Ghost Rider and stuff. And it's Robbie Reyes. But the thing is, with Robbie Reyes, they kind of hint that like the Nicolas Cage version of Ghost Rider is still a part of the MCU, and that was what made that awesome. Also, seeing that Ghost Rider is even way more powerful than the Hulk was really really cool. They made an anti-Hulk holding cell, and the Ghost Rider in the TV series beats it down with his fist. It was a really awesome scene, and he's just blazing, literally blazing through all the villains and gangsters and stuff. That was some great stuff. What else? Well, like I said, the quality in Phase 4 is where it starts to really take a hit because again, the Eternals, that was insidiously insidiously bad. They made another series, a TV series about one of the villains that Hawkeye runs into in his own TV series, and that was terrible. You really shouldn't make a series about a character that no one has seen before. That's, I mean, she might be a Marvel character, but she's so obscure that she didn't register as an occurring Marvel character. She felt like an original character that was only in the MCU. She Hulk, like I said, that one was just bad. I hated that one. Um, Unlike most people, I I actually liked the Black Widow movie. Um, was it too little, too late? It's in a gray area with that because they're showing there's other Black Widows in it, and the Black Widow that's gonna take over Natasha's mantle, she is like a newish character. So in that regard, it's not too little, too late. But for Natasha itself, it kind of is, unfortunately. I still enjoyed the film. I love that they have Captain Russia in it. My only complaint with him is that they did make him a joke character. They they really shouldn't have, but he still is awesome. He's in a gray area, so I guess they somewhat knew what they were doing. They just should be a little bit more careful with him. I love the fact that he takes on one of the villains without any weapons, and the bravery in doing so, despite how well armed that villain is and how deadly that villain is. makes me appreciate him more. I mean, I would have liked to have seen that fighting more. They kind of cut away from it, but we know he definitely survives it. No, the villain I'm talking about is Taskmaster, and I don't like what they did to Taskmaster because it was purely political. What they did with them, he was originally a man. There wasn't really any reason to change him into a woman, and then well, the reasons why he has the abilities though are a little bit more interesting. I think like they just make it so that he's uncanny in the comics, and he has a mutant ability that allows him to know how anyone fights. So having it so that part of his brain is a computer,
Yum.
and it just flat out analyzes that and records it. That's actually kind of a cool take. I actually kind of like that aspect more. But like it took some of the personality out of the character because like in the MCU version, like they're almost completely gone brain wise. They almost have no emotion at all. But other than that, they were a good adversary. But it's like they said that the film was a good Me Too film, and I have to agree, but for different reasons. I think it's a good Me Too film because it shows the problems with Marxism, socialism, and communism. And you might be shocked to hear that, but they're very terrible systems economically and socially. Like the main character, I call him Captain Russia. That's not he's the Red Guardian, but as a nickname, he is Captain Russia. He brings up how like he doesn't know why he was in a gulag his whole life or most of his life. Apparently, he had been fighting other Captain Americas and stuff like that, and been fighting for the Soviet Union. And then one day he's locked up for the rest of his life, and he's like, "I don't understand this. Did I accidentally say something wrong about the premier's hair? Did I accidentally offend the director?" That's quite literally how it works in those systems. It's a very, very cutthroat system, and if you say or do something wrong, you can be put in a terrible place, like a gulag, just for political reasons, spite reasons. It's nightmarish. So that's why I think it is because it's a good example, a fiction one, of what it's like for your country and society to be destroyed by those systems, communist, socialist, Marxist. Don't get me wrong, like crony capitalism is not good. Straight up capitalism is though because it's all about that is the true workers' rights. You work for however much you want to work for. You can work for yourself, or you don't have to do any work that you don't want to at all. In those other systems, your job is based off of what the central committee approves of, or if they flat out need a worker and they don't care that you don't want to do that certain thing, they're going to make you do it anyway, or you'll go into gulag and still do that thing and be under horrifying conditions. Now, I'm not going to get in that kind of stuff too much, but I thought it was a good movie pointing that sort of stuff out.
I'm Princess
Um,
Cadence.
Hey, Twiley.
let's see. Now that we were talking about Black Widow, what was the next film? I unfortunately I was not able to see any of the Guardians of the Galaxy. No, sorry, not any. I wasn't able to see the third Guardians of the Galaxy. I heard that one was pretty good. Unfortunately, like I said, was not able to see it. Um, was not able to see the third Ant Man. I heard that one had done a terrible job, and they had used AI art. I don't have a problem with AI art per se, but if it's gonna generate bad art and you still go with it, that's kind of dumb. Like I saw pictures of Modoc. I'm not gonna lie though, Modoc is a hard character that you'll be able to design to make it look serious or good. It's too goofy looking. But like the route they went with the
Ooh,
MCU,
pretty.
that
I'm
was
a
just
rainbow daddy.
absolutely nightmare. It's almost nightmare fuel while being goofy at the same time. It was
This calls
terrible.
for a party.
Um,
Elegant.
so in that
Will
regard,
you
I can't
accept my
go
friendship?
fully into it. Okay, we've gotten the Princess Luna. Now let's let's go back to Sweet Apple Acres because I did forget completely to look at the characters there. I don't remember if Spike is here. Okay, they are generating rubies. Is Spike here? I think it would be in this building. Okay, he's not here, so I'm going to start with Applejack because she is one of my most favorite characters. Here we
It's
go.
not the Rainbow Dash show.
It absolutely is not the Rainbow Dash show. So let's go Apple Bloom. Oh yeah, I got a new dress for her. I forgot completely about that. But
We have an
anyway,
important lesson to get to.
what was I saying? Great. Now I've lost my my train of thought. I was talking about those films. Well, either way, the films I was talking about, like the last one, I did not get to see it fully, so obviously I can only give some conjecture on it and the art that was in it. I forgot to mention the Deadpool films. Those technically do partially count as being in the MCU multiverse. The third one will also be in the multiverse and in the primary universe. I can't wait to see it. And since you probably can tell in my voice how excited I am, I thought they did a fantastic job with those. I want to say they're in the second place with the second Deadpool film being in it's up there. It might be first place, tied for first place. My only problem with the first Deadpool film was I thought it had a not main, a lame main villain. Ajax or Francis. I get the joke. You're not supposed to care about the villain. You're not supposed to think the villain is even cool because he has a lame name. But I felt like that's too much of a hindrance in this case. He should have been a sub main villain. Now we get to the second one. It's not quite as funny as the first one, but it's got one heck of a villain, and it has a lot of really, really, really cool supporting characters. I absolutely love it. I don't think they should race swap some of those characters, but they still ended up being good. Like Domino, she was pretty cool. I liked her in that one. I liked how she was constantly defending everyone from Deadpool's accusations that everyone's racist when they're not. That was hilarious. It was kind of a jab at some radicals. But that was a fantastic film. I love the jokes about dubstep. The action was really, really good. It had some famous people in it. I can't remember the names though. When he assembles that team of people to help him save that boy. Oh man, I can't remember the boy's name. That he was like, I guess he called himself the fire starter or something like that. Um, he assembles a team of people, and most of them are played by famous people too. There's a guy that used to do Old Spice commercials. His commercials were awesome. I loved seeing them every time they came on the TV. And he gets electrocuted and hit by a bus or something like that. I was like, no, why did he have to die? No. Um, Brad Pitt was in it as the invisible guy. You only get to see him once he gets electrocuted because then he stops being invisible when that happens. That was ridiculous. I love the guy that vomits stuff. He accidentally flew into a wood chipper and then accidentally, like, they had a guy that was like really lame that everyone speculated was going to be one of the most epic people on Deadpool's team based off just the trailers. That ended up not happening, but he survives it all. And the guy that spits up acid vomit, he accidentally lands in the wood chipper, and as it's killing him, he accidentally throws up acid onto that guy and kills him. It's like, oh my god, oh man, that was hilarious. I'm into dark humor, just so you know. Dark humor is definitely my thing. So, yeah, Deadpool 2, the Juggernaut was perfect in it. Now that we're talking about Deadpool 2, just so you know, there's two different cuts besides the normal cut for it. I actually prefer the original cut. I think the special edition, although the jokes they add in the special edition are really cool, I think they ruined the final fight between Juggernaut and Colossus and the other characters helping him. Oh, and just so you know, since we are talking about Deadpool 2, there is a My Little Pony joke in it, and there's a character he calls Pinkie Pie in it, and it's awesome. Canonically, the comic book version of Deadpool loves Pinkie Pie, and Pinkie Pie has very similar abilities to him. So they have had crossovers in official and unofficial ways. It, I love it. It's pretty cool. Those characters belong together more so than Cheese. Wait, Big Cheese, was he called? Oh, great. What was Weird Al's character that ends up becoming Pinkie Pie's husband? It was Cheese something. Cheese Sandwich. Okay, I call him Big Cheese on accident. Whoops. My bad. Sorry about that. Um, I think she belongs more with Deadpool, but hey, whatever. Their crossovers have been really fantastic. But anyway, I think the polka music they have in the special edition ruins the fight between Juggernaut, Colossus, uh, Teenage Megasonic Nuclear Warhead, and Pinkie Pie. I'm going to call her that because I don't remember what her actual name was. The polka music ruins it. But other than that, the drama, character development, the action were perfect in Deadpool 2. And then there's a Christmas version, which is a spoof of the. There is a fantasy movie. I don't know why I'm forgetting everything lately. There's a fantasy movie where this grandpa reads a story to his grandson the entire time. The Princess Bride. That's it. So this Christmas version of Deadpool 2 is a spoof of the Princess Bride, and the guy that plays as Deadpool actually got that kid back. He's a man now, and it's Christmas time, and he's reading him the story of Deadpool 2, and it's a PG movie. Disney wanted a PG version where there's no blood or anything, and so the guy that plays as Deadpool agreed to it if he can make new scenes and make it really silly and stuff. Now, if it were me, my compromise, besides making it sillier, would be to replace all blood and gore with Christmas candy. Now, think about that. Think about having scenes where Deadpool is like jabbing at people instead of blood coming out. It's just perfectly wrapped Hershey kisses with the Christmas colors just coming out. Imagine a scene too where one of them gets stabbed and it's Christmas M&Ms coming out and they catch it with the cup and start eating. Again, I love dark humor. That is my thing. If you don't, well, that's just how it is. But I think that would have been hilarious for the Christmas version. I unfortunately have not seen the Christmas version. My best friend, I got it for him for Christmas, and he wouldn't watch it. He just wanted to verify to make sure it worked, and he did not tell me what the differences were, which were pretty disappointing. I do need to get it myself, though. Don't know if it will be that superior to it, but you never know. So, getting back into the other Marvel stuff, and again, I can't wait for Deadpool 3. That does look like it's going to be really good. I don't know if season 2 of Loki's come out, but like I said, the first season it wasn't bad. It was a little bit boring at times. I did like them traveling through the multiverse more, and we get to see more multiverse Lokis and stuff like that. And just seeing how they all interact with each other and seeing how he is different through the multiverse, not just in appearance either. Some of them look still just like the main Loki we know, and other ones are very different, which makes sense when we're talking about infinite. The multiverse is going to be infinite. I think the main problems is just having radical ideological stuff take place over story quality because they've been trying to reboot Blade. Wesley Snipes wanted to come back. He's been constantly wanting to come back as Blade, and Disney won't let him. One of the
Friendship is
ideas they had for
Oh,
the
yeah.
reboot
I win again. Oh, my stars,
was to
darling.
have Wesley Snipes come back, but to play as Dracula instead of Blade, which that's dumb.
We sure like making some new friends.
Just let him be Blade. Okay, so now that we're at Applejack, we're gonna go to the last place. We're actually making pretty good time. So let us go. But yeah, they came up with really dumb ideas for what they wanted to do with Blade to the point that the guy that's currently was supposed to play as Blade. It looks like he's given up. Oh, and don't forget to add me again. Just showing this again. My friend code is in the top left hand corner. And don't forget, all of you type in your friend codes in chat. I don't see anyone chatting. You might be chatting, but I don't see it because this app is not as friendly to use as the Twitch one. Share your friend codes, everyone. We all of us need to get as many friends as we can so that we can get as many hearts and rubies as we can get. Let's see. Ooh, my repeat did not spawn yet. But we did get a derpy, so it's all good. Okay, so we're going to start with Luna again and end with Luna.
Hey, Twiley!
So,
I'm Princess Cadence.
where did I leave off? Yeah, a lot of the later ones, they are going with ideology versus quality, which that is a mistake. And this goes back into what I was saying earlier, why I would not want Disney to buy Marvel. I mean, sorry, I would not want them to buy Hasbro or Milo Pony separately because it's the route they're going.
Excuse me?
And if we
Are
go
you
into
all
Star
right,
Wars,
Sugar Cube?
it's even worse. Don't get me wrong, there's some good things. I'll name them right now. These are all my favorite, and I think they're really good things. Disney has done with Star Wars. Star Wars Squadrons, the stuff they've done with X-Wing and Armada until it just recently got canceled, so I'm actually kind of angry about that. The ground battle game, which I always forget the name of that one. I don't play that one, so that's one of the reasons why. Star Wars Uprising, which was canceled. You might see a reoccurring theme here. I liked Rogue One. That one was a fantastic film. There's some problems with it though. They wanted to make it as gritty and dark as Saving Private Ryan, and when Kathleen Kennedy caught wind of that, not only did they have them turn down the grittiness and violence of it, they took away the normal amount of grittiness and violence that would be in a Star Wars film and made it look a lot tamer while being more serious than normal. But other than that, it was a pretty good film. They just need to be careful with Death Troopers. The Galactic Empire is a really popular faction, and you need to keep your villains competent and deadly and intelligent. And the way they portrayed Death Troopers in multiple different mediums, it goes from them being epically dangerous to cartoonishly bad to the point it's like they're no different than a normal stormtrooper, so why bother having them? Okay, let's see. I liked some of Andor. There's some problems with it though. I feel like I'm going crazy when I say this, but whenever I see people talk about Andor, they feel like the rebel cell that was in it was they were good guys, but I saw nothing of that. We see a rebel character that's in Andor that flat out says, "Well, there's a lot of people having good lives, and we need to force people through our own means to not like the Empire and rebel against it." It's like it's one thing to naturally, you see, have the Empire come at you, and it's like, yeah, you are evil, but it's like this guy is harming his own people to get them to hate the Empire without them knowing that he's harming them. And so I've also seen people be like, the Empire was good all along. Um, to to make a statement about the Empire, I think the Empire is good, and you might go crazy when I say this, but the Emperor is bad. He definitely is evil. Like I've said before, the Empire is incredibly popular in Star Wars. So you can't get rid of it as a faction. What they have done in the past is have different dynasties of emperor for the empire. And if you're familiar with the character name Baron
Hello?
Fell,
Party
his son, because and further on they become the emperors of the
time! Hello
empire.
there.
and they're very just and good characters. Think like King Arthur. That's the kind of royal person that you would want to be your monarch, not Emperor Palpatine. Another thing a lot of people miss about the Galactic Empire and other factions in Star Wars, the Galactic Empire actually is also fighting a lot of evil factions that are not also part of the Rebel Alliance. There's a
All
reason
right,
why it's
that's awesome. Yeah.
there is a reason why it is called the Rebel
You need to make
Alliance.
some friends.
And we're at Luna again. So I'll go through this really fast. There is a reason why it's called the Rebel Alliance. There are lots of rebel cells that don't make it into the Rebel Alliance because they're either actually evil. They just want to harm lots of people. They don't care for what reasons. They have their own agendas, which in the case of the Zan Consortium, which is a rebel cell the Empire fights, that group is so sophisticated but evil. Tabarzan wants to rule the galaxy himself, and he's even admitted he wants to destroy all the Galactic Empire, but he wants to destroy everyone part of the Rebel Alliance to restore the Republic. He does not want the Republic to exist. He also wants to destroy all the Hutts. That's not someone you would want in the Rebel Alliance. There's other Rebel cells that are in the middle of other civil wars and stuff like that, and so they only want the Rebel Alliance to be on their side so they can overwhelm the people that they're fighting. Excuse me. And then on top of that, they well, you get the gist of it. There's also lots of different groups of pirates and criminal organizations. So there's like lots of people in the empire that are dealing with stuff like that, and they just don't. They end up not knowing the differences between them. Now there are going to be some devious people in the empire that actually know the differences and purposely conflate it to trick people. But that's what I'm getting at. The empire itself is good. It's just the leadership, like Emperor Palpatine. He is freaking evil as all heck. You do not want him to lead anything. He's also one of the greatest villains of all time. One of the most well crafted. I think there was a list of villains that were, and it's a very small one, that were written down as being successful villains. Villains that achieved at least most of their primary goals. Emperor Palpatine is actually one of them. And then if we go into Final Fantasy, there's only one, and that's Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, and I believe Hannibal Lecter. And like I said, the list is incredibly small for having villains that are not just dangerous and really, really good, entertaining villains and competent, but actually win. That is a small achievement for actual good villains. And when I say good, I mean like good as a character, good for entertainment, good for story building. Like I said, there's no way I would ever consider Palpatine himself be a good guy. No way. He's incredibly evil. He would get along with Nightmare Moon. He probably would try to make Nightmare Moon into a Sith Lord. Let's be real here. Okay, so I liked some parts of Andor. I think the Rebel cell in that one was ridiculously dumb because the Empire in Andor is good. It's the guy that he almost acts like Tabarzan. And I wouldn't be surprised if they revealed that he was Tabarzan. The guy that's forcing people to want to fight the Empire, that admits he's going to harm them without them knowing that he's going to harm them to get them to go fight the Empire. That guy is flat out evil. That's even in some of the lore that some of the rebel leadership, if they had access to a Death Star themselves, they would have no problem destroying lots of Imperial planets with innocent people on them. So, okay, moving on. I like some parts of Star Wars Rebels, mostly with the TIE Interceptor in it and TIE Fighter pilots. I'm very picky, not going to lie. And I can say the same for episodes 7, 8, and 9. The parts I like most are with the starfighters. And I like Poe. Poe is pretty cool. I like Finn, but they did Finn bad. They did him wrong. They made him a joke character when he shouldn't have been. And like he had some of the most impactful scenes, and could have contributed tons of good stuff, especially in 8. But they had to screw it up. They and okay, I'll get more into that in the stuff I don't like. Let's see. I did like the Mandalorian series. That was really good. All of them. I like Book of Boba Fett, but some of it was a little bit strange. Take in mind that the Star Wars galaxy is incredibly huge. It's incredibly huge. So it's going to be so big that you're going to have so many different cultures that you're bound to run into some that do have really dumb or goofy looking tech, or dumb or goofy looking artistic looks, whether it be for fashion or anything or cuisine, whatever. But yeah, and they had some goofy looking characters in Boba Fett with that, and I like the Han Solo movie. It doesn't fit with them making Lando like be attracted to robots. That is too weird. That is, and then they tried to take away from Han Solo's feats as a pilot by having it so the robot is now part of the Millennium Falcon. Take in mind the Millennium Falcon's computer is a hybrid of three. Ooh, someone danced and I wasn't even paying attention. Who was it though? Oh, it's the Shadow Pony. So there's already three computers made from sentient drone, not drone, droid brains that are part of the Millennium Falcon. But like this one that was, it was a dumb character. It was an obnoxious character. It was fighting for droids' rights, but they already have rights. It's, and then she leaves them to die when she frees them. She's just a terrible character. They made her part of the Millennium Falcon, and then they tried to imply that it was her that piloted the ship accurately enough to get them out of there. That's kind of a dumb take. Let's see. I think that's it. I think a lot of the live action series have been great, but like they did a terrible job in the comics. They flat out made one planet within the entire galactic empire produce literally all the ground vehicles, all the starfighters, and all ranged weapons and armor for their ground forces. One planet for all of it, and they have the heroes take out that one planet, which starves out the galactic empire. That is dumb on so many levels. It also means that their production capabilities are ridiculous. That one planet can supply an oversized galaxy that has satellite galaxies around it, because the cloners, the people that make the clone troopers, they come from a satellite galaxy that's above the main galaxy. That's how big their galaxy is. But one planet literally was supplying that entire galaxy and more with the weapons. So their production capabilities are ridiculous. And it would have been even higher if they had more than one planet. They partially fixed that though with later lore. The Star Wars Battlefronts are in a strange place because the first one didn't have a story, but the gameplay was good, and the second one had a story about Imperial Navy commandos. And there's lots of evidence to support this, that because of political politics internally, they didn't want any sympathetic or good Imperial characters in the story, so they changed it the last second. And there's assets that prove that too. There's stuff that's been changed radically fast that you can see from trailers versus what's in the game, that Kathleen Kennedy had it changed. And also there's a prequel novel about it, about how loyal Iden Versio is to the Galactic Empire and how there's no possible way her faith can be shaken. And then they put her in a situation where she quickly becomes a rebel, and she's like, I can't wait to destroy my own previous friends. Yay! That was so dumb. And like, besides the evidence about the assets being changed, you can see the changes in that all the games that have been made for like tabletop, none of them are the Rebel Alliance version of Iden Versio. They're all the Imperial version. That's telling. And also the in-game assets for player versus player mode, Iden Versio is only an Imperial character. So the story and stuff was never meant for them to suddenly become rebels and wanted to destroy their own allies. That's just so dumb. I The Jedi Outcast games, I think they've been fine overall. They're sort of not my style because I think they're based off of very hard to play games. I don't know the name of it because it's not a series I normally play, but endurance is a big thing with it, like being able to just run. You want to have stats in it that have high endurance, or else you can't run with armor and can't run fast and you can't swing very much. It's a hard game like that. And I'm sorry I'm being vague about it. The series I'm referencing is a series I've never played before. So you have to give me a little bit of break on that. Other than that, again, I think they did terrible with the comics. They made a Star Wars Resistance series, and that was absolute terrible. I thought Star Wars Episode 7 didn't feel like a Star Wars film. It felt like a sequel to Last Action Hero, except for the characters that are watching the Star Wars movie are sucked into it, because that's how they act. They act like they're Star Wars fans that just went into the Star Wars universe, as opposed to people that live in Star Wars. Episode 8 was atrocious, except for some of the fight scenes and the dog fighting in it with the starfighters. That's the only stuff I like. The stuff they did with Ray and what they did to Luke was bad. If they had made the whole movie just about Luke and Ray, I think that would have been an improvement, and then took it seriously. The political messaging they put in that was terrible. And another thing that goes against the Star Wars stuff, you cannot do Star Wars and then put have Disney Marvel style jokes in it. I think that ruins the films, because Star Wars has never had that style of humor, and it doesn't. It makes it not feel like Star Wars when you have Marvel style humor in it. And then on top of that, nine. I felt like nine. They just wanted to get that part of the saga done and over with, and it feels incredibly rushed. My least favorite part is at the end. They kill Palpatine in a very unenergy dynamic way. Ray just crosses her lightsabers and lets him electrocute himself to death. That was lame. In the space battle, all the capital ships do not ever move at all, and their weakness is the gun barrels of their ships, and any starfighter can easily destroy them with just their cannons and cause the entire ship to explode. Like I said, that feels like they just wanted to get the plot done and over with and move on, and that damages the films a lot. Now, supposedly they're survivors, and that's how we're going to get episode 10, 11, and 12. Again, the Galactic Empire is it's too popular, but you need someone that, again, focuses quality and skill and talent for stories versus ideology. That would make the films better. And you can see it too, because like whenever they've had the guy that plays as Kylo Ren on Saturday Night Live, or the Lego movies for Star Wars, where they're just having fun and they want to focus on making a fun and funny story, they're fantastic, and I get a kick out of it. And it also depresses me because they did a bad job with the main films, but the parody stuff is excellent. Now, I don't want to get too much into that because I've already done my main objective, and because I'm not too familiar with this app, I don't think I can just jump onto things. So I think I'm going to end it here, and that's my explanation for why I don't think Disney should ever get My Little Pony. To say the least, what they've done with Aliens and Aliens vs. Predator and Predator. They don't want Aliens and Predator to be in the same universe, from what it seems, and so they've canceled everything. I really love the tabletop war game, and they canceled it. It's not like it was doing as well as Warhammer 40k, but they still canceled it. And all the Alien vs. Predator projects and stuff they've canceled. Fox had just finished an anime for Alien vs. Predator, and it was meant to confirm, firmly confirm that all the EU stuff was canon. We had got many things showing it was, but this was confirming it was canon, and it was gonna slightly retell some of those stories, just refine it, but essentially confirm they were all canon. Princess Luna is dancing. Let's get some likes. Let's get some likes in this. Princess Luna is dancing. She loves what I'm saying right now. Okay, so It's supposed to confirm everything's canon and refine everything, and it just touch up on anything that might not mesh well or make it more action packed. All the animation and acting are done before Disney bought it. They refused to show it. They they refused to produce it. They've refused to stream it. It's a very bad sign. Now we've gotten a few aliens things that have been fantastic. They've been games. Dark Descent and Colonial Marines Elite or Fire Team Elite. Those are fun games, and I intend to continue playing those too. I just have my last stream that I did for Fireteam Elite, the stream malfunctioned. That's why you're not seeing any videos. I'm gonna have to go back and replay everything I did. The stream only recorded the main intro screen, but it recorded the audio for everything I did. It's annoying. Those games have been fantastic. The comics have not. They they made it so the main heroes in one of the comics was leftist extremists, and it was ridiculous. It doesn't really fit with the series. They're having the Predator crossover with X-Men. In fact, they've also had the Aliens crossover with X-Men, and Colossus casually breaks a xenomorph over his head, and he's letting the acid like drip down him. It's dumb. Now that they are going to have a huge crossover with the Avengers versus the xenomorphs. It's going to be interesting to see because one, the Marvel series already has its own version of a shout out of xenomorphs. Feet wise, the xenomorphs are more dangerous, but at the same time, the artwork they've already had with them kind of makes them look like they're not, which they shouldn't. So we'll see how they'll handle it. So far, the only series to handle xenomorphs well that was a superhero series has been the Green Lantern and Witchblade with Darkseid in it, or Darkseid, or whatever the heck his name is. Like I said, I didn't mean to go into it too much. Anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. I just wanted to do an update on this and talk. I want to do more of these. Let me know if you'd like me to do a react video to fan made stuff because I want to kind of do that. I would love to go through Ink Rose's fan made films for My Little Pony. It would be fun. Anyway, peace be with you all and have a great day.